how do you see the OPI index being integrated into a submission, and what would be the criteria that you would assess in terms of its acceptability toward part of a overall analysis of acceptability toward NDA approval?
If you want me to frame it first, I could go back to the original conversations that maybe 10 or 12 years ago we'd had many times.
Thank you. I think that'd be
great.
And
the question was, how do we define what is a clinical relevant breakup time? If you're half a second less or 1 second. I said, well, gee, look, we got a drug here that reduces breakup time by half a second. And then, so I said, well, so what? I said, well, half a second, that could be important if you're exposed to the environment and over time. Well, I don't know, I need to see something. And in fact, it is in the context of if you break up in 3 seconds and you blink every 3 seconds, it's irrelevant. So it was in that context that I was searching with Dr. Chambers to try and better understand how we could use this parameter to be more meaningful. So these were some of the initial discussions. And why I bring it up also is the fact that it isn't the end of history in terms of development of new endpoints and our better understanding of the physiological and the pathophysiological process. And one can envision that we'll be looking at different endpoints into the future. So this is a type of conversation that would lead up to Jerry's question.
Yeah, and my hesitation has to do with most of what I know about it. I know about through the IND process. I don't know about it from public information. And I don't tend to comment on things that I've learned about from the IND process. It is certainly an endpoint which can be easily described and potentially and obviously measured, and we would evaluate that as we would any other endpoint as part of an approval process. Whether we will ultimately find it an acceptable endpoint and useful in showing the efficacy of a product, the best that I can say is that we'll review it at the time it comes in with a new drug application.
All right. That's your final answer?
That's my final answer.
No.
No, actually, no.
No,
It's not.
No, not at all.
The point that a product gets approved with it, I may give you a different answer.
I think we're all sensitive to the IND process, and all of us here respect your confidentiality in maintaining it. Everybody here would like to know what everybody else's IND information is, but we would all like to have our own information maintained. And so that's what Dr. Chambers is saying, and I think he's spot on in terms of his assessments.